Good evening, viewers. My name is Tom Nook. You may know me as the guy who makes sure you get your house mortgage payments in on time and make sure that you aren't skipping out on your taxes. Yes, that Tom Nook. I am here in presence of the one you know as Nooks. He is currently not here and is busy suffering through college. Apparently, calculus is a killer over there. What a baby. But anyway, he just wants me to let you know that the following video was recorded a while ago, but had not been released sooner due to being updated with more news points and just due to him being very busy. So just know that this channel is not dead, and videos will continue to roll out when possible. Other updates will be covered in the video itself, or at least that's what he told me to say. Now, if you excuse me, I have to get back to making preparations for the next installment of Animal Crossing. I would be in Smash Ultimate with Isabelle and our mayor, but I didn't get invited because apparently I can't fight. Seriously, they chose that skimpy, furry bait secretary over me? After all these years? I swear I'm going to burn. Enjoy the video.
Hey everyone, it is Nux and I am back with another video. So today we're just gonna cover an assortment of topics because it's been quite a while since I've made a video and thus I have a lot of things I need to talk about and I'm just going to bunch them together in this one video. Now the reason why this video is called The Great Roller Coaster of Nintendo is when it comes to the Nintendo camp, it's just been nothing but ups and downs with Nintendo. Like there's been all sorts of little good things that they've done recently, but there's also been quite a few bad things. So I don't know, this isn't gonna necessarily be a rant because I'm not really in a rant mood right now, but there definitely has been some pretty questionable stuff. But there's been some good things that have happened these past few weeks as well. I'm not gonna act like it's all negativity, even though that's my speciality when it comes to this channel, just mainly ranting and complaining. But we're just going to look at both the positive and the negative today. So let's jump into the topics. So our first topic for today was the Nintendo Direct on September 13th, 2018. So this Direct was originally supposed to happen a little sooner, but it didn't due to an earthquake that happened in Japan that really was devastating. Like they got hit with not only an earthquake, but a tsunami not too long before that. So Japan was pretty shook up, so they had to push back the Direct, which is understandable because I know that they're going for a tough time right now. They're definitely getting hit up with a lot of garbage when it comes to Mother Nature, so I wish the best for them. So no ill will to anyone who has been caught up in those storms. Just want to get that out the way right now. Now, when it comes to the Direct itself, it was kinda meh. Now, there were two major bombshells of that Direct. One of the two major bombshells of that Direct was the beginning of the Direct, which announced Luigi's Mansion free for the Nintendo Switch. Thank God. I have been waiting to see the next installment of Luigi's Mansion for quite a while. I'm a really big fan of the original. The original is just such a fun game to play. And you know, Luigi is one of my favorite Mario characters, so for him to get another installment in this series is really cool. Now the thing is though, when it comes to Luigi's Mansion, I was very mixed on its sequel, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which I don't think is as bad as some people think it was, but it definitely wasn't a perfect game necessarily. So when it comes to this Luigi's Mansion sequel, I want it to definitely take elements from not only the first game, but the good elements of the second game. Like, I'm not that person who thinks that they need to write off Dark Moon 100%, because there were some good elements in Dark Moon. But I definitely am a little iffy on this game, you know, coming off of Dark Moon. It was a little disappointing. It wasn't the Luigi's Mansion that I thought it would be, especially because it was on handheld, which I think is the main reason why I didn't enjoy it as much as the original. The original was a full console experience. It had like these crazy graphics. It had this big environment that you could explore. as to where Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on the 3DS just had these mission structures and all that crazy stuff. So yeah. Now when looking at this Luigi's Mansion, you can tell that it's very likely being made by Next Level Games. Why? Because a lot of its assets and its graphics look very similar to Dark Moon, which is a little disappointing because the game kind of just looks like a 3DS game up-res. It literally looks very similar to Dark Moon, but slightly pushed into HD, which there was nothing wrong with Dark Moon inherently for the platform it was on, but Luigi's Mansion 3 doesn't look like a Nintendo Switch game. It looks like a 3DS game up-res. This is kind of a similar problem I have with Pokemon right now, but again, that's an entirely different video. I know I said that I've been wanting to get to Pokemon, but I will get to Pokemon later. But yeah, that's one of the main things I don't really like about this game so far. Another thing I kinda am a little mixed on is the ghost. I definitely want to see the return of the portrait ghost from the first game, which were more of the humanoid crazy ghosts, the ones that had a lot more personality compared to the very generic ones of Dark Moon. And I'm not entirely sure what direction the ghosts are going to go in this game so far. We do know that the ghosts that we do see, the base ones, kinda are a bit of a hybrid between the ones we see in the first and second game. Like, they definitely look like the ones more so from the second game, but they do kind of look a little creepier than the ones that were in that second installment, compared to where the second installment ones were just super goofy. But these kind of have a blank look to them. They at least look a little scarier than those. But there are some good elements definitely I do like. Now, one thing I do like is that this Luigi's Mansion looks to take place in one consecutive location, very similar to the first game. See, what I liked about the first game was the mystery in itself was the very mansion you were exploring. It was this one location that had all this creepiness to it. With Luigi's Mansion 2, you were just going between these different mansions, and they kind of just felt like a routine more so. They just felt like mansions with different elements you visited. And at first I thought the different mansions element was going to be cool, because it's like, oh cool, multiple mansions. That means each one should be very expansive and very fun. But no, each mansion kind of just felt like a chore to go through. And that was one thing I didn't really like about Dark Moon. But for this one, it seems that they're going back to one consecutive location, which is this giant green hotel looking kind of place. Now, another thing that interests me about this game is what direction the multiple playable characters could go, or the villain of the game, because there are hints that there are different characters in this game. You know, we have Mario and Toad, who have been in past Luigi's Mansion game, but now we see that Princess Peach is in this game, which is kind of crazy because she's never been in one. So it makes me think, well, why would she be here? And why would it be specifically Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach? Now, I'm kind of a little mixed on multiple playable characters as well, because this is Luigi's Mansion. It shouldn't be about the other characters. It should be about Luigi and maybe some other people. That, and you already know, I've always suggested that they should give Luigi more unique partners in his series, as opposed to just Mario characters, like more Mario characters. Like, where's Daisy? Where's Daisy? Like, she could be a good partner for Luigi in this series, other than just bringing in Mario, Peach, or Toad. They just feel like the most generic choices. But yeah, other than that, that's all I really have to say about Luigi's Mansion 3. I'm kind of on the fence of it. I'm not like against it. I'm not like for it 100%, but I do think that this will be a solid game at least. Like, Dark Moon was an okay game. It wasn't as terrible as some people make it out to be. I would give it about like a C tier range. It wasn't bad, but it's just not as good as its predecessor. It doesn't have that amazement of its predecessor. So moving on to weird character choices, some things about the Direct that I didn't really like were the ports. Like, some of the ports were in this Direct were just kinda, why? Like, two of the big ones that come straight off my head was New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which was rumored. I didn't really talk about this in previous videos, but this had been a rumor for a while that New Super Mario Bros. U was going to be ported to the Switch. And honestly, I think that this is the dumbest thing that they've ported to the Switch yet, because a new Super Mario Bros. Game, really? Like, that series is just so similar between the games, and they're not really adding anything else into this game. Like, yeah, it will have the Luigi DLC, which I already have, so this port is really meaningless. And the only other thing that they added to this port was a playable Toadette. Again, of all the characters in the whole Marioverse you could use, you choose to use Toadette? Why though? But yeah, that's a thing that exists. I'm not entirely against this port, like, it's just a port, it exists, but like, this is kind of a dumb port. I feel like if they wanted to do something with New Super Mario Bros., what they could have done is made like a New Super Mario Bros. Collection that has all 4 games, including that Luigi DLC, like just a big New Super Mario Bros. Collection that has all the games remade in the New Super Mario Bros. U engine. I feel like that would have been way cooler and would have been way more enticing for me to spend money on. But otherwise, I don't really care for a port of New Super Mario Bros. U, especially when it's mostly the same. I own that game and the Luigi DLC. The only other new thing is Toadette, and I don't care about Toadette. And the other port was Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, which again, honestly, I think they should have just made a sequel to Epic Yarn. Like, if they were just porting that engine over and using the assets to make Kirby's Epic Yarn port, they could have used that for the basis to make a new Kirby's Epic Yarn game. Now, obviously, I care way more about the mainline Kirby games. You already know how crazy I went when we finally got Star Allies, as opposed to yet another Kirby spin-off. But I just feel like if they wanted to be a little more creative, they could have just made a sequel to Epic Yarn as opposed to a port. But again, it's just a harmless port that exists, I guess. But most of those ports, I was just kind of like, why do they exist? But there were some good ports in this direct. Like the Final Fantasy ports, I think are actually really good because a lot of those games are coming to the Nintendo platform for the first time, like Final Fantasy VII. It was always weird to me that we had Cloud in Smash, but yet we didn't have his game on a Nintendo platform. Well, that's been solved now. Final Fantasy VII is coming to the Nintendo Switch, so I think that's a good port. Now, one thing that we saw in this direct was we finally got an update on Yoshi's Crafted World, which of course is the Yoshi Switch game. Like I talked about it in my E3 review, where it was kind of dumb that Nintendo held off on showing so many games, including the Yoshi game, which should have been released this year, but for some reason they decided to push it back a whole year along with Fire Emblem. But we did finally see that game, and it actually does look a little better than the last time we saw it. Like, this is basically what happened with Woolly World. We saw some beta stuff with the game, then it like disappeared off the face of the earth, and it came back looking a little better. And that's exactly what Yoshi's Crafted World appears to have gone through. I'll keep my eye on that game, but until I see more of it, I'm just kind of on the fence with it. So, to the second bombshell of this direct. The second major bombshell of this direct was the ending, where we got a 1-2 punch combo basically for the entire Animal Crossing fan base. The first punch being that we got Isabelle in Smash, which if you watched my character prediction little thing for Smash I did recently, basically I talked about Isabelle and I was like, like if she happens, okay, it's kind of cool. But the big thing I was expecting with Isabelle is that she would be an Echo Fighter of the Villager, which she is not. She's actually a semi-clone. And the reason she is a semi-clone is due to the fact that she has a lot more unique animations. Like, she's built entirely different from the Villager, which I said in my predictions video. So, that's the reason why she's a semi-clone as opposed to an Echo Fighter. And again, I'm just kind of glad we have another option to play with when it comes to Villager. Other than that, I have not much else to say other than if Isabelle can be a semi-clone, I hope that Shadow the Hedgehog is a semi-clone because he has so many unique moves that are different from Sonic. Like, he deserves to be a semi-clone because he has moves that are entirely different from Sonic. If he's just a pure Echo Fighter, like, why though? But anyway, yeah, and then the second punch in the 1-2 punch combo to the Animal Crossing fanbase was the announcement of Animal Crossing Switch. No gameplay though, they just showed a temp logo, which is kind of a habit of Nintendo lately that I don't like, but at least they have confirmation the game exists at last. Animal Crossing fans can finally stop with the whole demonic Satan summon circles that they've been making or whatever, and we can finally put that behind in the list of Nintendo games people think will not happen but have finally happened. I wonder when F-Zero is going to happen. So now, This is where the roller coaster part comes in. We're going to touch on a big negative of Nintendo that's been happening recently. And of course, we're going to talk about a big positive. Now, the big positive and the thing that's mostly carrying Nintendo hype this year is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yes, I'm going to talk about that game some more because I just can't get enough of that. But before we get to that, we need to talk about Nintendo Switch Online. Now, what is my opinion on Nintendo Switch Online? If you follow me on social media, you have a very good idea what my opinion is. Basically, I think that how Nintendo has handled online with the Switch has absolutely sucked. And here's why. So, we waited a whole year almost for them to get this online service ready. Like, we waited a whole year. They said, wait, well, we're going to push the online service back a little and we're going to let you play for free like you did back in the Wii U and the Wii days. So, for the most part, it was feeling kind of normal. We were getting used to playing for free and all that stuff. And then this online just creeps up on us. It just creeps up on us out of nowhere. So, when we are waiting for this online news, it's like, okay, well, they had to delay it for a good reason. Like, when they first talked about the online, it sounded kind of bare bones. The only thing they really were rambling on about was some NES games, and obviously you pay to play online. Well, we come to find out that the only really new addition to this whole online service is that now you can get cloud saves, which, why are we paying for cloud saves? That should be something that we should have for free. Or heck, why don't we have more of a physical option to save our game data? Like, it's ridiculous that we have to pay for this online to save our game data on our Switch. Like, for example, I have a lot of hours on Super Mario Odyssey that I would like not to lose. But I have to pay for the online if I want to get access to those cloud saves to keep my data safe. And I already know what people are going to say, but it's $20 a year. Like, that's the big thing defenders of this online service are like hanging on to. $20 a year. Well, it's not worth even $20 because there's very little to this online service. The main thing you're paying for is to play online. What comes with that? Well, you get access to cloud saves. Why is that not free? Why do we not have a physical option? And the other thing that they're just going crazy over is these stupid NES games, which I am so tired of NES games. Like, they're just 8-bit games from the 80s. Like, yeah, I know that some of them are really good games, but a lot of them are just kind of aged poorly. Like, I don't care about NES games. You want to know what I want to play? I want to play more so N64 games, GameCube games, like even like Wii or DS or something like that. More games that we don't really get ported often. I don't care about NES games. The warranty on those died down a long time ago with the Virtual Console. Speaking of the Virtual Console, it would be better if we actually had that instead of this garbage online service. Like, if the online service kind of worked in a Netflix way where you had access to all these games as long as you paid per month, then I would be all about it. I would be totally down to spend $20 a year for that. But it's just NES games, and not even like the whole NES catalog or anything, just this specific set of 20 NES games that you may or may not care about. So really, the only thing good about this online service is you pay for it so you can play online. That's it. Absolutely garbage. Like, this online service is terrible. There's nothing to it. They wasted an entire year that they could have spent on improving the online and did nothing. They could have improved the voice chat, for example, but no, we still have to use the terrible app. There's all sorts of little things that they had plenty of time to improve, but they didn't. So that's why I think that Nintendo Switch Online is horrible, super anti-consumer, and there's nothing really great about it that's worth spending even $20 a year. So yeah, whoever Nintendo has in charge of making decisions with their online, please stop, because you have no idea what you're doing. Like, even I could do a better job. At least I could give the right orders to, make sense of an online service. Like, for example, put games other than NES games on the service. Don't make cloud saves walk behind a paywall. Like, let people play online. Like, there's just so many ways they could improve their online, but they're just not doing it for God knows whatever reason. And I haven't even touched the big thing, the fact that the online itself doesn't even improve. Like, they could have better servers that allow these games to run better, but they say that dedicated servers aren't guaranteed for every game. Like, some of the big ones they'll have dedicated servers for, like Mario Kart or Smash, but what about games like Splatoon or Pokemon or stuff like that? Like, why though? Why do you not have dedicated servers when we're paying a bunch of money for this online? Garbage. But yeah, if you want to talk more to me about the online, you can hit me up on social media or just comment down below. I'm going to move on from that because just talking about it makes me upset. Yeah. So, for our final topic today, we are going to catch up on some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate stuff. Now, as of the day of this video going up, there's a high chance that a newcomer could happen out of nowhere and immediately outdate what I talk about in this video right now. So just keep that in mind when I'm talking about Smash Ultimate right now in the context of this video. But basically, I want to do a quick recap of Smash Ultimate so far. So the Smash Ultimate hype train has kind of slowed down, definitely. I feel like Sakurai definitely used his big punches a little too early, and he even admitted that himself. Like, he might have gone a little too crazy with the newcomer reveals. Like, we instantly got Ridley right off the bat with the reveal of this game, and every character coming back alone was already crazy in itself. So he didn't even need to bring Ridley, but he did anyway. And of course, we had the big direct on August 8th, which gave us Simon, his Echo Fighter, what else did it give us? Chrom, it gave us Dark Samus, and of course, we have the huge, like, just mind blow at the end with King K. Rool. He, like, hit us with all of that in such this short time span, and he hasn't slowed down, but now he's admitting that he wants to slow down a bit. Now, if you want my thoughts on all the newcomers so far, you can check it out in the link in the description. Basically, in the description, I'll have a link to a Facebook post where I give my quick thoughts on all the newcomers so far. Now, as we are approaching the final moments of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, now when it comes to the base game roster, it seems like there's very little room left. So who is going to get in and who won't? Now, because of how little space there is seeming to be left, it's making me feel a little less confident in some of my character choices. Like Bandana D, for example, I'm starting to think that he might not make the base game. I have a feeling he might be DLC or possibly might not make the game at all. Like, because there's just so many characters requested and so many bigger ones, it makes me think that he might not be able to slide in there. So I'm losing a little faith in him, but I'm hanging on. I'm hanging on to what little I have for him. But there's definitely a lot of characters I definitely want to see more. Now, Banjo, I have a strong feeling he's not going to be in the base game at all. Like, I always thought he'd be more of a DLC type character. But the big character I want to see make it in the base game, hopefully, is Geno. You know, I talked a lot about Geno in my predictions video, and I'm really holding out hope that he makes the base game. But it's just hard to tell right now because it seems like the gap space in the roster is closing very fast. Now, there's been a lot of rumors lately talking about what characters could make it to the final few spots, and here are some of the characters that people have talked about. Now, there's been heavy rumors about Ken, who I touched on in my predictions video as well. There have been heavy rumors for him that he's in the game as an Echo Fighter for Ryu. So that's pretty interesting. I have no real thoughts on Ken, so if he's in, he's in. Then you have Incineroar, who's also heavily rumored lately, which I'm mixed on because Incineroar, I think, could have a very good moveset, but I feel like there could have been a better Pokemon or character to put in his place, but there's a high chance he could be in this game due to the rumors. Now, the crazy thing that the rumor mill has been talking about lately is this whole rumor about Steve from Minecraft being in the game, which, like, what? If Steve from Minecraft gets into Smash Bros. Before Banjo, I swear, like, I don't know how to feel about that. But it is a rumor that he might be in the game, along with some kind of Minecraft content. Like, there's no certainty of whether it's just Minecraft content or Steve himself is actually in the game as playable. Like, I have no idea what's going on there. Crazy stuff in the rumor mill right now. Of course, we've got more Echo Fighter rumors. A lot of people are having their fingers crossed for Shadow, which I'm glad. I really do want to see Shadow in this base roster as well. And even if he doesn't make the base roster, I do think Shadow is a lock for DLC for sure, because I feel like he's just the most obvious Echo Fighter / semi-clone they could put into this game. I really hope Shadow makes it. And finally, the last few characters I think could slide in those spots. We have Gino, who I've talked about a lot. We don't need to talk about him anymore, but some people have also thought that Sora could get into the game because there's a lot of weird speculation around Sora lately. Now, me personally, I'm not entirely sure Sora will make it into this game because Disney is a hard company to work with. So if they actually somehow get Sora in this game with its Disney elements, I would be absolutely shocked. It would be insane to see. That's one reason I actually kind of want him in Smash, because imagine seeing these Disney elements in this Nintendo game with all these characters. Like, Smash Ultimate would truly be the most insane crossover ever. It would be absolutely insane. And the final character, obviously I talked about him, is Skull Kid. I think Skull Kid still has a tiny chance of sliding into the game. Whether he's base or DLC, I have no idea. I just have a feeling maybe he could get revealed this month due to it being October and it being a spooky month. Like maybe they'll reveal him as a spooky character or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, those are my final thoughts for Smash Ultimate and where I think the base roster is heading, what I think the final few characters will be. I think that we could potentially get one more super big direct with a lot of characters, both newcomers and echoes alike. And they'll also cover some of those remaining modes we don't know about yet, like that mysterious adventure story mode that they seem to be hiding. I'm really interested in seeing that for sure. Alright, and that was almost all of my topics covered for today. Now the last thing I want to say before I end this video off is a quick update on some Sonic the Hedgehog stuff. Now for those who are looking for my Sonic the Hedgehog content, I do have one particular Sonic video in development that I've been working really hard on. I've been writing the script for it for quite a while, and I had to actually restart the script because I wasn't satisfied with the direction it was going. So it's going to be a while until I touch Sonic the Hedgehog again. There's nothing really that exciting that's happened in the news mill either. It's mainly been stuff on Team Sonic Racing, the Sonic movie, and of course, Sonic Toasters, because that's a thing, I guess. But yeah, the Sonic Mill has not been that insane to where I have to make a video, so I've been holding off on that for quite a bit for now. But do know that I do have Sonic content on the way. When I finish this video, that will be going up, obviously. And I'm hoping to get more Sonic videos out after that. Like, I'm not sure if I'm going to make a Sonic video before I get this big video project out. Maybe something really big newsworthy could happen, but otherwise, yeah. Well, alright folks, now that I've covered all the topics today, that's about it for this video. So if you enjoyed the video and the things I discussed today, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. But what I want to see more so is you in those comment sections down below and give your thoughts on the things I talked about today. I really love it when people give their thoughts in discussion. Like, I like talking about these things, you know? You know I ramble on about this stuff forever and ever and ever. So when it comes to video games, I can talk forever, and it's just nice to have people to talk about that with. Alright guys, well that's all I have to say for today. This is Nux, and I'm out. Peace guys.